The latch clicks. The metal door swings outward, and the world rushes in. Kidow sticks his head out, whiskers twitching against a wall of vibrating concrete heat. He steps onto the sidewalk, but the ground shakes beneath him. A yellow taxi swerves, slamming its horn just inches from his ears. The sound is a physical blow. He flinches, his tail puffing up like a bottle brush. He tries to take a step toward the curb, but a wave of commuters surges past, a wall of legs and rushing fabric that forces him to scramble backward. He hits the edge of a brick wall and stops. He presses his belly flat against the gritty pavement, paws tucked tight beneath him. Every shadow is moving, every sound is a threat. He watches the blur of boots and rubber tires, his eyes tracking the chaos that seems to have no end. He remains motionless, a tiny, frozen point in the center of the roaring, unyielding concrete maze. The rush of commuters finally thins, leaving a narrow gap in the crowd. Kidow reaches into his small bag and pulls out a morsel of dried meat, his only comfort. He never sees the shadow coming. A pigeon drops from the awning, wings beating hard, and snatches the snack from his paw before he can even blink. The bird launches back into the sky, leaving Kidow staring at the empty air. He tries to shake off the loss, but his paws slip on the slick, oil-stained pavement. He slides 3 feet, legs splayed. Before he manages to dig his claws into a crack in the concrete, he scrambles to his feet, eyes wide, and trots toward the curb to find a safer path. Just as he reaches the edge, a yellow taxi roars through a deep puddle. The water erupts, a freezing wave that slams into his side and knocks him back against a metal pole. He shakes his fur, droplets flying everywhere, and looks at the disappearing taillights. The city is not just loud, it is relentless. He stands by the gutter, his footing unsteady, watching the traffic flow like a river that refuses to part for him. Kidow spots the metal cart parked on the corner. The scent of grease and salt cuts through the exhaust fumes. He leaps, claws digging into the canvas cover to steady his jump. The cart tilts, buns slide, tumbling onto the sidewalk in a white, doughy avalanche. The vendor shouts, dropping his tongs with a sharp metallic clatter against the pavement. Kidow does not look back. He hits the ground running, paws thumping against the concrete as the heavy footsteps of the vendor gain speed behind him. He weaves through the legs of pedestrians, a blur of movement heading for the dark mouth of the subway entrance. He dives down the stairs, sliding on his side to maintain momentum, and bursts into the station. He spots the turnstile, a rotating cage of steel bars, and lunges through the gap. He makes it halfway before his midsection wedges tight. He kicks, pushing his hind legs against the cold iron, but the bars hold firm. He is stuck. The heavy footsteps of the vendor echo down the concrete stairs, growing louder with every passing second. He twists his body, muscles straining against the unyielding metal, desperate for an inch of slack. With a final, desperate twist, Kidow pops through the turnstile and lands in a heap on the platform. He scrambles up, ears swiveling, and bolts toward the street-level light. As he emerges, a street performer nearby loses grip on a wide-brimmed hat. It drifts through the air, tumbling end over end, and settles firmly over Kidow's head. The sudden weight forces him to tilt his chin up. He shakes his head, but the fit is perfect. He struts forward, no longer a stray, but a fixture of the pavement. A skateboarder flashes past, wheels humming against the asphalt. Kidow lunges, landing squarely on the moving board. The world blurs into a rush of neon and motion as they carve through the grid toward the center of Times Square. He balances with tail extended, eyes locked on the horizon. A tourist holding a camera stands frozen in the middle of the crowded intersection. Kidow leaps from the board, soaring through the space between pedestrians, and latches onto the tourist's shoulder. He stares directly into the camera lens with a steady gaze. The flash fires. He has arrived. The rush of the crowd fades into a dull roar as Kidow leaps from the tourist's shoulder, slipping into the shadows of a nearby park. His legs feel heavy now, the adrenaline of the afternoon finally draining away. He finds a wooden bench, its surface worn smooth by decades of weather, and climbs up. He curls into a tight circle, his tiny paws resting against the rim of a discarded coffee cup he found wedged in the slats. The city lights begin to flicker on, but the orange glow of the setting sun remains, painting the glass of the skyscrapers in deep amber. Kidow stretches, his claws extending and retracting rhythmically against the wood. He lets out a long, slow breath, his eyes half closed as the world around him slows to a crawl. The frantic pace of the streets no longer matters. He is still. He is safe. The last sliver of sunlight slips behind the horizon, casting the park into a cool, quiet twilight. He tucks his nose into his tail, the weight of the day settling into his bones. His breathing deepens, rhythmic and steady, as he finally drifts into sleep. The city hums on, but he is finished. He has seen it all, and for now, that is enough.